it's us. We are going to talk about the 5 causes of World War I today, and we want you to take notes in your note packet as you listen to us.
If you would like to challenge yourself, you could take additional notes in your note packet beyond what blanks we just leave for you, or you can even take out a separate sheet of paper and add more notes to practice some college skills, but that's totally up to you. For those of you who have never done this with us before, we like to give you a lecture online so you can listen to it and go at your own pace and pause if you need to. So as we talk through the 5 causes of World War I, if you don't understand something, feel free to rewind this and go back, or raise your hand and we'll come help you. Okay, so the 5 causes of World War I start a little bit before 1914, and we've talked about one already. Oops.
We're going to think about these questions before we get started. So 3 countries the U.S. controls in 1910. We talked about Hawaii, Guam, Philippines, Puerto Rico.
The fake war was the war that William Randolph Hearst kind of made up, the Spanish-American War. It was fake because it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. And we win Cuba, Guam, the Philippines, and Puerto Rico from it.
And then the ship that was such a big deal that blew up near Cuba was the Maine. And remember, they didn't really blow it up. It was our fault.
And then one of 2 alliances leading up to World War I. You may have noticed this when we played Risk, and we only got 1 day to do that because of the cold days. But there are 2 alliances, the Central Powers and the Allied Powers leading up to World War I. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so the first cause of World War I is imperialism, and this is the one we've talked about. So remember, it's when a large country starts to take over smaller countries. And this was a big problem around this time. And the goal of the country that is being imperialistic is to build the biggest empire that they can. So if all these countries are starting to take over little countries, we start to see a little competition and some rivalries start to develop.
And it basically looks like that, right? A big, strong country trying to take over a weak little country. So it's like bullying. Our second cause is what's called nationalism. And nationalism means love for your country or your nation. And you can see the word nation in nationalism. And they love their country so much that they run around the world and tell everyone how much they love their country. Now, if you love your country, you obviously will hate any other country, or at least that's what we see happen in World War I. So people start to go out and want what's best only for their country, and they want to try to take down the other countries. So there starts to be what's called a power struggle, and countries try to one-up each other and get stronger than each other because of their love for their country.
All right, the third cause of World War I is militarism, and the word military kind of sticks out in this. And what this cause was is all these different countries start to develop and build their military so much because their goal, remember, is to take over other countries. So they want to be as strong as possible so that when they go in and take over other countries, they can be successful.
We see what is called an arms race develop, which means not like arms on your body, but guns. And each country tries to get more guns than the other country, and bigger and stronger and more deadly weapons. So, for instance, if Great Britain starts to develop large-scale cannons, Germany will try to outdo Great Britain and develop bigger cannons. One example is a cannon called Big Bertha that Germany developed, and it was the size of 2 PR classrooms and would shoot a 1,800-pound shell almost 1,500 miles. So the scale of these weapons greatly increases as countries try to outdo each other in guns and weapons. And like Sam said, armies get really, really big, and then guns also become more and more powerful.
All right, our fourth cause is alliances. And now alliances sound good because what an alliance is when you team up with other countries and you agree to help each other. So they're trying to protect themselves and then they agree to help other people. So it sounds good, but because of this, we start to see sides develop like what you saw in Risk. We had the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. So we see those rivalries even more because of these alliances.
Now, if you could take a minute on the side of your notes, looking at this map, see if you can list 3 allied powers using the key on the left-hand side. And then also try to come up with 2 or 3 central powers that you see.
So maybe pause this right now as you write those down.
And then lastly, which countries you notice are neutral? You can maybe list a couple of those too. Again, pause so you can write those down, and then we'll tell you if you're correct.
All right, so the central powers, the main countries, there are many, but the central powers, the 2 strong countries are Germany and Austria-Hungary, and then the allies are going to be Great Britain, France, Russia, and Serbia. So notice that the U.S. isn't in this yet at this time. So these 2 sides are going to develop before the U.S. is even involved. Remember, we're an ostrich for a long time.
And also some neutral countries are Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, and Spain. So they try to stay out of things. And if you wrote down Switzerland, you would have noticed that Switzerland's actually right in the middle of all the action. So it's kind of crazy that they can stay neutral. But some countries did. They decided not to get into World War I.
All right, the 5th cause of World War I is this assassination. And this guy named Archduke Franz Ferdinand, he is the
heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, which means he's next in line. His dad is the king, but when his dad dies, he will be the king. So he's like the prince, basically. He's very important to Austria-Hungary. They're a combined country.
You can tell how important someone is by their awesome mustache, so he's pretty important. So he gets assassinated by a group called, they're kind of like a terrorist group called the Black Hand, and they're from Serbia. And this guy named Gavrilo Princip is the guy that pulls the trigger and assassinates this guy while he's in a parade with his wife.
Now, the Black Hand is very mad at Austria-Hungary because they took over a fellow country of theirs called Bosnia. So Serbia and Bosnia are best friends. Austria tried to take them over, and Serbia got pissed, which is why the Black Hand, this little terrorist group, decided to kill the next king. As you can imagine, a country is going to be super upset if you kill their prince, and Austria-Hungary was. They were furious. So they declare war on Serbia. This is the one event that really starts World War I, because without his death, it might not have ever gotten to war. There's the band Franz Ferdinand. Perhaps you've heard of them.
So we like to come up with a way for you to remember these 5 causes because these are going to be super important going into World War I. So if you remember INMA, you'll remember imperialism, nationalism, militarism, allies, and assassination.
INMA. That's how I always say it. I don't remember it. So what's crazy is one gunshot triggered an entire war, right? And we found a clip that we want to show you that kind of shows how Franz's death kicked everything off. Let's see if it'll work.
Might not be linked up.
No, it's not linked.
But we'll share it with you.
Yeah, we'll show you sometime soon. But basically, Franz's death kicked us into World War I. So this is one of my favorite movies, Dumb and Dumber. I'll be Harry. Do you want to be Lloyd?
I'll be Lloyd.
Okay. What are they doing over there?
Oh, crap, Harry. I've heard something like this. I think alliances are starting to go into effect. This is not good. Not good at all. Oh, yeah. Watch the crap hit the fan now.
Oh, and it will. Because in 3 months, 60 countries get pulled into World War I.
What?
Oh, no. Well, all those big European countries were taking people over. So when they go to war, all of their little countries that they took over go to war.
So the big question is, who the heck is the United States going to start siding with? We have all these alliances, huge countries building up their military and forming alliances, and what are we going to do?
We don't know. So we stay neutral in 1914. Now I want you to write down 1914 somewhere on your notes. That's the day, or I'm sorry, the date or the year that World War I starts, 1914.
We're also going to share a clip with you about Franz Ferdinand's death because that is such an important event. One of the fifth cause is probably the most important. So we're going to share some extra information about his death.
Okay, and we'll skip that slide. All right, you should feel like this right now. So happy that you learned the 5 causes of World War I. We're going to have you let us know when you're done taking these notes, and we'll tell you your next step.
Nice job, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.